Hey guys, welcome to WaRpTV, where we help you get good and maybe take some scalps. Also want to welcome you to week 34, 2025. Team Wars in South Park Phone Destroyer. We're coming into some heavy stuff here. We got ourselves a Dar, or Dark Angel Red, Dar Leanne week. And that's pretty dangerous. How did last week's choices and explanation video treat you guys, by the way? Just real quick. If it helped you out, if it didn't help you out, let me know in the comments. I want to know how to make these videos as good as possible, because I'm here for you, right? You could also tell me, hey, fuck off. Well, I didn't like your shit. I'm a big eggplant, you could ask your mom. She'll tell you. Let's get into the choices for this week and try to give you guys tips, clips, and other pro tips that we can figure out here for you. So let's go check out the choices. Here we are. As stated, we got Darleanne. We got a couple of other dangers here, but the overall focus of this week is going to be being able to get as much value as possible with your Dar play. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get value from your Leanne play, but you should get it if you want to do well this week. Now, and I say that because you could also Dar your Stand of Many Moons or Psalm out of the way of a Leanne transmutation circle. You could Dar a Santa, which I really wouldn't recommend too often. That should be a rare move on your part. You could do Dar Brady as well. We'll get into that. So let's go into our first choice here on the list. CKI, or Canadian Night Ike for you noobs, versus the 4-Ass Monkey. Now, this choice, it really depends on how you want to play this deck, right? So CKI is going to give you a pretty problematic card if you are able to give him 2 charges, right? If he replenishes his health twice and increases his life twice, it's a problem for your opponent. Now, the converse to that is you have an opening unit with a 4-Ass Monkey. You can throw him down mid, you can give yourself quick damage wherever you need it, you can kill Leanne quicker, you can intercept an Inuit before he reaches its target. A lot of really, really good things about 4-Ass Monkey, and not to mention his ass explosion, right? He's going to be able to target 4 things out there, and that could be kind of clutch if, let's say, an Inuit is almost dead on the other side of the map or something like that. Whatever, right? Just whatever. I think that our choice is absolutely gonna be 4-Ass Monkey. Oh, our piss stream is a little small. Let me actually make that bigger. I'm a big boy eggplant. We gotta make it count. There you go. So we're going with 4-Ass Monkey on our team. Just because I kind of like the quickness of 4-Ass Monkey, and there is some setup involved with CKI. So your opponent may not give you that opportunity, and that's the opponent that we worry about, right? Not the potatoes, not the this or that. We're worried about people that actually know how to play. Those are the people that I'm always looking to beat by making whatever deck I'm making, right, for our team. We're not looking for potatoes, we're looking for good players. So let's think about that overall when we talk about stuff. So 4-Ass Monkey, next choice between Dar or Dark Angel Red versus Hat. Not gonna lie, Hat would be very nice this week if it wasn't that Dar Leanne week. So I mean, Dar is gonna give you quite a few targets depending on your deck, right? If you're gonna have Bar Brady, you can do a double blast on a new kid, for example, or just enough to like just kill a Psalm that's almost dead, or renew it, or something like that, right? Or you could break Slave. Now, again, we don't really want to go after things that are not Lian in the Dar Lian week. But again, we're going to show you clips on how to do that successfully, because you guys, you have to know how to do the the Dar Lian successfully. And I'll actually put a screenshot in post on all of the positions that are going to be available to you safely. So you should see that right about now. Also, think about what level your Dar actually is, because her range increases the more level she is. Now, usually teams are going to go, competitive teams are going to go about level B5, and that's going to be plenty for everybody. But let's say you are on a Wood League team, a Bronze League team, you may get up to level 3 or something like that. Or let's say you're playing level 1 memes, and all you have is a base level 2 epic Dar. Well, the only two safe positions for that level Dar are gonna be 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, or vertical, directly above or directly below. And you want to hit that Dar and position her as far away as possible to where you can still see that dotted line indicator. It's going to be very important that you hit this regardless of your level, regardless of your whatever, right? You need to be able to get Dar Lian value, or just Lian value as a baseline. But Dar Lian is like immediate big value this week. So if you can pull it off, you're more than likely gonna win. So yeah, we beat that dead horse here. Let's piss on this one too. There you go. Got a lot of freaks in chat, I bet. Next choice here, we have GSK or Gunslinger Kyle versus Rowboat Baby. And this isn't even a real option, right? I mean, GSK is an S tier common card for TVT. You're going to be able to use this card highly defensively. Remember, it even boosts your new kid. So think about how best to do that. One cool thing that I remember using a lot like in this set, this period, is if you know your stuff is gonna get Lianed, like and you know you're gonna be turned into Cox, right? Get out Gunslinger Kyle, put him out somewhere, put him in the corner, let him charge. Once your units transform, hit the Cox with the buff, and that's gonna cause immediate problems for your opponent, because usually what an opponent will do is they'll Lian your stuff, right? They'll transmog your stuff, and then they'll set down a cheap unit like Space Warrior or even a Inuit, and then they'll try to clean up the mess, right? Well, you kind of mess that plan up for them if you buff your Cox. So keep that in mind, bros. That could be a game turning for you if you get caught slipping by your opponent. So if you give them too much Lian value. I guess that's another thing to be said. This week's sort of about how much value are you going to give your opponent when they play Lian on you. So big, just like the biggest thing about that, don't group your units. Don't put 10 energy together. Spread your stuff out as best as possible and as efficiently as possible. So Robo's not even in the conversation, bros. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Pick GSK. Piss on that one. Okay, so Slave versus Santa. Now, if we look at the rest of the choices, you do have some charging units that are going to be great with Santa. Slave is not going to be as important or significant this week. He does break pretty easily by a lot of things, right, guys? So That with the added bonus of Santa being a little slower to walk. So we want to go ahead and go with Santa, because you're going to get double Psalm Blasts. You're going to get double GSK buffs. You're going to get 2 charges on Space Warrior. You're going to get a lot of things. So definitely Santa. So one thing to remember, guys, try not to dar your Santa. It's a target, but I would put that last in your priority list, right? So for me, the priority list is probably going to be Leanne. It's going to be WaRpTV, Psalm, and Psalm and WaRpTV are interchangeable just depending on the situation. And the very last one for me would probably be Santa. Okay. I'm giving you guys a lot of information. My bad. It's probably going to be a long video again. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go. Let's move on here. So poison versus lava. And I think you guys understand this one too, right, boys? We're going poison. Let's piss on that because that's what it's going to be. Poison. At competitive levels, a poison will kill Gunslinger Kyle. That's kind of important if you think ahead. If your opponent messes up and puts out an Inuit without it being right on the target. So if you make, let's visually make that a little better for you. So how, like, if the Inuit is played and he has to walk for more than like 2 or 3 seconds, you're going to have time to probably poison that thing before it gets to its target, and a level 7 poison will take care of that very quickly. Otherwise, intercept it with a monkey like we talked about. You can get a lot of value. Try not to poison units that are together because Purify is an option this week, so be careful what you're poisoning. And bro, your opponent may purify your poison off of Inuit. It's a possibility, right? So be careful with that. Just gotta follow the flow of the match. Otherwise, definitely the pick. Lava, not as important, not as significant, and yeah, I don't know. It's an overall terrible card. It never really helps you. It more so hurts you than anything. All right, so next up, Space Warrior Token versus Dwarf King Clyde. There's room for both of these options, and I was actually considering switching to Dwarf King this week, but it's tough, man. It's tough to give up a 2-cost unit that does damage, that is a quick response to the cleanup after Leanne, quick response to an Inuit if you need it. You can catch an opponent slipping if they didn't put anything up, and you charge right into their new kid. And by the way, you can combo Gunslinger Kyler's buff with that. That's huge damage. So think about that kind of combo as well, bros. And that's another reason, by the way, Santa is the option. Or Santa's a choice. Yeah, so Space Warrior, 2 cost. You can throw him out. He's a starter. Dwarf King, also really good because you could take care of a Psalm before he gets his blast. Potentially, right? But you have to think about the damage involved there. Dwarf King, I think he does 670, something like that. I'll probably add that to post as well. But like a Psalm M4 is nearly 1100 HP, and I'll show you that as well. So just keep that stuff in mind, bros. If your team does go this, understand health levels, understand that it's a 4 cost versus a 2, so you're going to be slower to get back to Leanne. That's another huge one for me, bro. Like, all the choices that we're going with here It is all tailored to get right back to Leanne, which is the most important thing, probably by far this week, man. Like, I just want to say, yeah. So we're gonna go with Space Warrior for some quick rotations, good damage, good base unit, 2 cost. Yeah, it's a safe choice, 100%. All right, next up, Barbrady versus Scuzzle. Now, man, Scuzzle's a great card. Scuzzle's one of the best tanks in the game, but you gotta give yourself some flexibility this week, bros. You need to have another darable target. It's 5 cost versus 6. Anything above 5 is not darable, right, guys? You gotta read the cards. If you don't give yourself the versatility, you're gonna have Dar just sitting there. You're gonna probably try and Dar something that is not opportune at 4 cost. Yeah, so Barbrady, for me, it's the choice. It's it can sneak a bar in an otherwise equal situation. If you get a Barbrady to their new kid, you can Dar that too. That's double damage. It's like 266 damage at M6, and we'll put that up as well in post. I think that's about right. 260 something, we'll say. So if you do that twice, you know, do the math on the bars. Scuzzle, man, I don't know, bro. Scuzzle, if you play it wrong, you're gonna get Leanne. I mean, that's immediate Leanne value for me. If I see a Scuzzlebutt, I'm just gonna Leanne that. So it's gonna be very tough to get Scuzzlebutt value to begin with, right, bros? A smart player, remember what I said at the beginning of this tutorial, we're talking about good players. We're not talking about potatoes. We're gearing these decks for good players, against good players anyway. So a good player is going to play Leanne and throw it into your Scuzzle. It's just, I mean, it's going to be tough to get that value, bro. The Death Wish value on 3 units. Very, very risky. So for that reason and others, I mean, you have Purify. Even if you pull off the very tough Scuzzle Death Wish, you could get Purified. Just think about that. I mean, there's just so many little things. So here we go. We're gonna go Barbrady. All right. Now, this is a tough choice, bros. This is a very tough choice between Purify and Freeze Ray. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each. So we have a Scuzzlebutt Death Wish that some teams are gonna potentially pick. You could remove it with Purify. You have Poison. If you're forced to lay your Inuit not efficiently, you could, and they poison it, you could remove that poison, still get your Inuit value. Hell, you could even get rid of GSK buff. Now, is that something you should do? Probably not, because chances are you're not gonna get all of the value for the 2 cost, right? So there's a lot of little things. Oh, you could also rotate out of a very bad starting hand with it. So if you just play Purify, you know, you play it on the new kid, you give him a golden shower. It's a nice little disrespectful way to rotate out of a bad hand. Freeze. There's a very, very good reason to go Freeze. And it's not one that people often use. So for Freeze, Let's say you and your opponent have a Psalm battle, right? It's Stand of Many Moons battle. They're hitting, they're both level 5, whatever. It could be any level, right? Level 1s, I don't care. So they're both hitting each other. But oh wait, your opponent is gonna get their charge off first, which means that they will win the fight. And you're worried that after that Psalm wins, they're probably gonna use Rob and Tweak on it. Now you have an additional problem. Well, what if I told you could just freeze that sucker? You could just freeze Psalm and you could get your charge off first or even kill it and save your charge. That's a big esports play right there, man. Just think about that. You could also save that freeze for your starting moves. Like if you have to send Monkey down mid and you're worried that they're gonna try and assassin step you or place another unit, and so Monkey is very high damage and kind of relatively low health, right? It's kind of like what assassins are. You could freeze whatever they put out. You could win the fight without any damage. You could freeze the new kid as well at the same time. And you might get 1 or 2 hits, maybe even the bar, depending on what level your Monkey is. That's a nice little thing to do to catch your opponent off guard. And you will catch your opponent off guard with that. But be careful, because that's not always the play. So, in an outplaying scenario, keeping in mind that we're trying to make decks to play against good players, and we're not going to make mistakes like playing Inuit too early, we're going to go with freeze. We're going to go with freeze. Now, both of these cards can be 0 caps. It's a cap saver as well. Poison is the play, but also if there is actually few things that will die outright to the poison, and it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world to lose a unit or two to poison this week. Why? Because your overall goal is to recoup your value for Dar plays, right? Your Dar Lian play. If you suck up some units, if you suck up value with Lian, if you're playing your Lian correctly, you're up on energy by a lot. Like, it's just what's gonna happen, right? You suck up a tank, you suck up a Scuzzle, and then you Dar that out of the way. Well, now you've got additional value coming, so you're actually ahead of energy. So the poison, getting something poisoned and killed is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It is bad, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So an outplay with freeze this week, I think is it's the deciding factor there, bros. Now you could totally think about your own team and go, I don't know, man, I don't really trust my team to do that. That's fair. This is cool. Yeah, just pick Purify. It's also a good choice. I like to have things that I can control more often than not in my decks. So freeze it is. With that being said, Shield Maiden Wendy versus Psalm. And of course, with all the explanations beforehand, you know that the answer is Psalm here. Now, you could go with a quicker rotation, Shield Maiden Wendy. Is that more impactful? Is that unit itself more impactful than a Psalm? Man, I don't know. Man. It's tough to get more value with Shield Maiden this week. Now, you could combo it with Scuzzlebutt, but I mean, so what? You're gonna be outplaying it. You could probably purify it if your team goes that. I think that there's way more value happening with Psalm, especially if you can hit like a Lian from across the field. Let's say Lian's at your new kid, you pop the charge, it's helping your new kid deal with Leanne. Not to mention damaging every unit on the field, right? So it's a 1 cost difference. It's not that big of a deal when you're talking about 2 really good cards there. I mean, Shield Maiden's not a terrible choice, but I just don't think it's as impactful, and I think people with experience will kind of sort of know that, right? So Psalm it is. Next choice here. Next choices, we've got Outlaw Tweak, which is a fun card, but let's be honest, bros. When was the last time you played when was the last time you played Outlaw Tweak? It's just it's a 4 cost. It's so bad. It's not. I mean, even at M5, M6, max 7, the damage is 400 something, or I'll put it up. It's very tough to get any value with that, because the bomb that he throws is random. It's RNG. It's kind of like Hook and Clyde. So you could have 2 different groups, and you could spend the 4 energy, and it doesn't hit the group you wanted. So yeah. Now on the other hand, Robin Tweak, massively helpful unit. Probably S tier as well, if I'm being honest. S tier card. It gives you like plus 500 at M6 or 7. We'll pop that up as well. Bro, I got a lot of pop-ups here. So you could have a really cheeky start, which I don't really recommend, bro. I don't. But if you have a bad hand and you don't have any other choice, you could do a cheeky start by throwing down maybe Inuit down mid, and you hit him with Robin. Now you've got a problem. The issue is they could also just counter it with their own Inuit that hasn't been buffed by Robin. You could also do the very same thing with Monkey, right? So Monkey Robin down mid, but yeah. So if they counter it with Inuit in their hand, then that's 6 energy gone. So yeah, I don't know, but after that, I mean, that's just an idea for a bad hand. Now, apart from its buff, its health buff, the unit hits pretty hard too. So we're gonna put that up on we're gonna put up the stat as well for that. So yeah, just think about that. It's a hard hitting unit for a 3 cost card. Health. You could choose what unit. Yeah, it's got long range. Fuck, it's a really good choice. Let's go. Let's piss on this one. All right. Now, you might be tempted between Inuit and Hanky. You might be tempted to pick Hanky, because you're gonna be like, well, Warp, you're over here telling me that it's a, Santa and Psalm is a good idea. You have GSK, you have Psalm, you got Space Warrior, you have all these charging units. Why wouldn't you go Hanky? Well, tell you the truth, it might be a pretty good play, but when you're talking about what Inuit brings to the table this week, and that is outright killing Leanne, right? Causing a problem for your opponent, killing Leanne, killing a Psalm, killing an out of control CKI. That's a big deal, man. It really is. So a removal is very, very important this week. But that's not to say you can't get Hanky value. In fact, you probably can. You would probably do well with Hanky, but I just, again, it's kind of situational, and you could always use Inuit in the right situation, right, bros? So Inuit it is. Now, Next up, bros, I'm the biggest classy enjoyer in the game, probably. I love the esports involved. Especially when Robin is a choice. You could double stun a push. She hits so hard. She's 5 costs. That's the only real problem with it. But man, the whole point of this week is Leanne, right? You need your removal. You need to be able to get Dar Leanne value, and then an additional value with Leanne after the Dar. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You just have to know. You just have to know, guys, how to get Dar Leanne correctly. So I'm going to show you some clips, and from here on out to the end of the video, we'll show you some Dar fails and some Dar successes. So there it is, boys and girls. Let me know what you thought of the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. Hopefully this helped. Guys, we will see you towards the end of the week. We'll have our TVT video, and if you want to come by and watch them live, come to the Discord. You'll have a link to the Discord in the description below. Anyways, we'll see you later. Bye.